Evening, everybody. This is Anthony from Airsoft, and I got my battle buddy Matt. And today we're going to be doing part deuce of Le Tippmann's review.
Go! Grenade! Sorry, man. Whoa. Get down. Where they at?
As you remember, we started our review process about a month ago.
Yeah.
About a month ago on the Tippmann M4. Now, our shop, specializing in HPA type stuff, we were really excited because there's a gun out there already on the market that is kind of similar to this, the Daytona gun system. HPA powered, fits in a gas blowback M4 body, or like we gas blowback scars, all kinds of bodies they fit in. Kind of expensive because you're getting just the drop-in for $470. So when we heard this guy was coming out, it was a complete gun, as you can see here in its stock configuration up front, and it's $450. And it comes with all the internal parts that you would need to run it off of HPA, as well as all of the internal parts to run it off of CO2 as well. We were very excited to get it in, and we have been putting it through the ringer. And by we, mostly myself. We're gonna get into no bullshit, honest assessment of its stock performance from the word go. As you see it right here, this is how it'll come. It comes with a fixed nub rotating thing system with an Allen key. Very strange.
As the hop-up.
As the hop-up. Yes. Very, very strange. And it also comes with basically a G&G green bucking, which I like. The G&G green bucking is actually good. But it comes with this barrel. This is abysmal. For lack of a better term, this is not a good barrel. Now, no. I think because they're selling it to you at such a cheap price, they expect you to upgrade that. They actually want you to transition away from this barrel. Mm-hmm. This is just something to get you by until you buy a new barrel. That's helping keep the price down so that you can afford to buy it. Because if they put a really nice barrel in it from the word go, let's say they put like a really nice brass inner barrel or something like that, and you're looking at about another $50 to $100 in cost for a really high-end barrel. And
putting a gun, if somebody sees a gun costing $400, once they see that halfway mark to $1,000, that's a turnoff to a lot of people.
That's a huge turnoff to a lot of people. But this is going to be your first thing to change. Mm-hmm. If you're going to start changing stuff on this rifle, this is the first thing to change. To change the inner barrel is wonky as hell. You have to, basically what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to remove all of the parts off of the front end of this gun. And then there's got this weird C-clamp, like half washer, twist off the delta ring ridiculousness. It's nuts. You're going to need an AR wrench, which it comes with.
You cannot do the pop the receiver and pull the inner barrel out.
It goes out through the front. You can't take it through the back, so you're going to have to take all this stuff off. When we did it, we've been running lots of different inner barrels in it. The first thing we tried the tried and true Polar Star SMP barrel. This is an Orga 6.23. This was actually the exact barrel that I ran in here. It's a 363. Mm-hmm. It's it's the right length. It is terrible with this barrel. Absolutely terrible. And we're going to explain the physics as to why that is. The big thing about how the gun works is that it has the HPA system in it. The Polar Star has a nozzle, and so does the SMP, that forces all the air in a controlled burst down the barrel. And it hits exactly behind the BB and then pushes it down the barrel. The Tippmann more of just kind of like, it has a nozzle, but it's a lot shorter, and it just kind of, boom, dumps it. It just dumps all the air at once. And so what happens is since a lot of the air also cycles through the gun to give it that recoil, the awesome recoil that I love, it just doesn't work well with this barrel. It's just not, it doesn't have enough volume of air dumped per shot to make it leave the barrel and the hop up and everything in a consistent way. Now, this could be because it's our test gun, because we have a really early model gun. This is
it's serial number.
This is serial number like 300. This is only the 300 something gun that's come out of their factory.
And another thing with the wide bore that we kind of noticed was that it's not as stable, because with the wide bore, the BB does not touch the barrel.
But in this gun, because of the way it's built...
Yeah, this gun is too violent. When you're shooting, you have recoil. You have the barrel moving around, so you fire around. It's not like a Polar Star, which does not move. When you fire around, you have recoil.
You actually flinch, and that also affects the way that gun shoots.
So instead of the BB just going as it should with a nice volume of air around it, the BB's doing that down the barrel, and it goes where it wants to. So wide bores...
It shoots really well, but it only shoots about 100 feet.
Your distance is gone.
Its distance is gone.
Yeah.
Now, this gun, I was able to do a hop-up fix to it, which I'm going to explain in a minute as well. But with a Sistema 604 barrel, with the hop-up fix that I did, we were able to get this gun to shoot 250 feet consistently, like dead-on, torso-sized target.
The .3s?
0.3 gram BBs, just
perfect weight.
Boom, boom, boom. Like, I was dropping fools at Black Sheep. And you're gonna see in the Black Sheep video, from my perspective, when I do go shoot, it's violent and it's mean and I am not nice and it just wrecks people. So for the hop-up fix, now what we ended up doing for the hop-up, as you can see on the top of this gun right here, it has this little piece of rail cover. On the receiver for the Tippmann, there is a hole in it, and in that hole, you can actually see the top of the hop-up nub. The hop-up itself is adjusted via a grub screw on the side. It's a piece of plastic with a little fin in it, and then it has a screw system. And that screw system, you twist in and out, and then that raises and lowers that little plastic nub. Now, the problem with that is that since it relies on gravity to push it down, so it's relying on gravity to be consistent. Problem is that with the tension of the rubber bucking, the BB's hitting back and forth, and because it uses the sideways grub screw instead of going vertical, since it's not going vertical, it's not having consistent downward pressure. So what it does is it wiggles. And that's why most Tippmann owners are having shot-to-shot consistency issues. A coworker of ours, Biggs, came up with a brilliantly simple solution, and then I was able to take it and run with it. This right here is a mag release spring off of a typical AEG mag release. Okay? What I did was I took this mag release spring, this guy right here, I trimmed it to exactly the height that I wanted it. So what I did was I adjusted the hop up for the first 2 or 3 shots exactly where I wanted it to shoot. Then I put this spring in that hop up hole, and then I covered it with this rail cover. Then I would fire a few rounds, and it would obviously over-hop because it's pressing down too hard. So then I would trim it, and I'd fire a few more rounds. And then after about 15 minutes of firing a few rounds and trimming, I was able to get the spring to this height right here, which now perfectly hops in 0.3 gram BBs to 250 feet. Consistent, shot to shot. It's damn near perfect. Problems with this, though. It's giving you the consistent downward force that you need to make your hop-up shot-to-shot consistent all the time. But the problem is that now it's just kind of built for 3 gram BBs now. So when I go to battlegrounds and shoot indoors, I shoot like 40 feet and then the ceiling. Like, and that's
2.5s are way over hop. So if this is the route you're going to want to go, if Tippmann does not come out with any fixes for this in the near future, your best bet may be to get 3 or 4 of those springs and then mark them as your 2.5, your 3, your 3.6, your 4 if you can find 4s.
If you can find 4s.
So,
and that will fix it. And the gun will shoot gloriously. Now, we did have some questions about people asking us about the replacement pistol grip. As you can see, it's not on there anymore. What we tried to do is we tried to modify a real steel Magpul Myad grip to fit it. And it worked okay, but I do not recommend it. Hindsight being 20/20, it puts a lot of tension on all the parts in the gun.
We are the actual line down to your connect we had to slightly angle that and bend it, which not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
Yeah, we
do
got
these
excited.
things so that you don't have to.
Yeah, we do the stupid things for you.
Yeah, we do stupid things to try to break this stuff. So that was fun, but we changed it back for, obviously just to keep the gun working. We didn't want to break it. Now let's get into some other random issues with it. Okay, so first issue, when we were taking apart the gun, you can see that there's some gaff tape, some cameraman's gaff tape right here. And that's because we broke the spring detent on the body pin that holds the body pin in. This body pin right here, So now it just freely falls out of the body. Because without that spring holding that safety pin in there to hold that pin in, it just falls out. So be aware, don't be too rough on that because you will break it.
The only time you have to be worried about that is if you actually go to take the stock plate off, which it comes with Sling Connect on it, so there's really no need to do that.
Now, the other thing we did, and this is why you'll see this giant zip cord on here. When I was at the battlegrounds the last time I used this, I was always taught in the Army to keep the gun tight to your shoulder even when the gun's down, and then rotate it up to shoot. I operated too hard, and I basically twisted the stock sideways on the gun. So then, because it functions like a real steel stock, you have to use a AR wrench with the castle nut part of the tool to loosen it and then straighten the stock. Well, then the castle nut was on there too tight. So we tried to vise the gun and use the tool, and we did eventually get it straight. But the problem was that we broke the two rear body fins, the upper receiver fins, the tabs. We snapped those. And so what ended up happening is now the gun doesn't stay together. And the only way to keep it functioning is to use this giant zip tie in order to hold it together. Now, that will say something for the robustness of the internal systems, because despite all of the abuse, despite the probably 40,000 rounds, this includes all the test firing and everything, all the test firing, maybe about 30 to 40,000 rounds we fired through it. I fired about 20 in gameplay scenarios. The internal system runs like a champ. It just works. The full auto issue, I have yet to fix that yet. I've researched it. It's probably a new probably need a new spring in it.
Yeah, that's one we just haven't been able
to. We just haven't, because we play it semi-auto places a lot. There's been no need to.
So it's one we haven't really focused on too much yet. Look for more of that in the third part of this video. It's just, it semi-functions flawlessly when we have it together. So auto, I think it's, because we have such an early model.
Yeah,
it's a little iffy for us to get that tuned right. So yeah, watch out for that in the next one.
Let's be honest though. So we sound like we're ragging on this thing a lot, and I'm gonna be real honest with you. I fucking love this thing, despite its flaws, and it does have some really apparent flaws. Like it needs some work. We've been talking with the Tippmann guys personally, like on a personal level, and a lot of the things and the grievances that we've come to them with, they are already working on. So later generations of this rifle are going to be superb. I mean, it's made in America, these dudes, and these guys are very receptive to you calling them and emailing them and asking them questions. They're very friendly, and they will take care of you if you contact them. But I really love this. I love this gun because you get that Daytona gun feel for a fraction of the cost. Because, I mean, let's be honest, the Daytona gun is going to shoot better than this. Stock, especially. The Daytona gun is going to shoot better than this. But the thing that you get with this is that you get the whole gun. The comparable price level for a Daytona gun is just to buy the internals. So you're spending $475 for Daytona gun internals, and it's a superior, it's a great system. I love the Daytona gun. But this, you're getting the whole gun for $450 and all of the parts to run it in two different systems. It is incredibly efficient out of the box. At Black Sheep, I ran an endurance test to see how long I could run with just one tank. I fired 20-something mags worth of ammo through this gun out of a 4,500 PSI tank, and I walked up the field with 1,500 PSI after a 24-hour op. And when you watch the video, I am slamming this gun when I'm firing it. I'm flogging the crap out of it. Just boom, 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 as fast as I can pump it. I'm trying to be as inefficient as possible. It is an incredibly efficient system despite using blowback to reciprocate a weight in the stock to give you that recoil feeling. It's incredibly efficient. I love it. And then to be honest with you, the best part of all the stuff that comes with the Tippmann are these mid caps.
Yes, these are actually up my route. They come with a 80 round. This may even be a low cap technically. Comes with an 80 round mid low cap. You will be required to use these obviously if you want to run it as the CO2 system, but we haven't quite done enough testing on that yet. So again, look for part 3 for our CO2 testing.
It will cycle. We fired 2 mags through it. It will cycle the CO2. It will fire almost all of the rounds in the mid cap 99% of the time. There's only a couple times that it might not get all the mags out before it runs out of CO2, and that's probably because of temperature changes and cold and stuff like that. But generally, it will get every single round out of the mag before it runs out of CO2. That's great. Personally, we've actually been running this in different guns, like when the Tippmann was down or someone didn't have it. I've actually run this in the shop's test SMP.
A couple other dudes have run it in Polar Stars. This thing feeds amazingly because it's such a short spring. It literally only does
one curve,
one up and down, so you don't have a swirl in there for rounds to get stuck in.
So
it's a nice polymer, nice finish. It's
super durable.
It's very durable. It almost mimics a K120's externals. And you have a nice spring in it, a very nice beefy release. You don't have to like wedge your finger in there. I love that about it.
It's really easy to take apart. You can actually swap the spring in it if you need to. You can service it, which is very nice as well. The mid cap is the most surprising part of the entire thing.
Yeah,
it's great. I'm debating buying boxes of those.
Yeah, I don't even have a Tippmann, and I want to get a box of these just to use in my regular guns.
Yeah, like people want to buy these really high capacity mid caps that have like hundreds of rounds. Like dudes are looking for like 190 round mid caps. These will perform better and will guarantee you to feed almost. Like we even ran the defective .43 BBs through this, and it fed every single round every time. And those are the defective ones that won't feed in anything else. And this thing just sucked them all out. It just pushed them. It was great.
Yep.
But I personally love this thing. It's got flaws that are apparent, but overall I think this gun is excellent. I would give this a solid B. Like a solid B. Like it needs some refinement, and the Tippmann guys are seriously working on it, and like talking to them, you can expect to see some changes in this hop-up design, and you can expect to see some changes in the full auto block on the trigger box. They're actually listening to customer feedback, and they actually follow in the Facebook groups. They don't let people know that they're there, but they watch in the Facebook groups and look for like criticisms and techniques, and especially ghetto fixes that guys are doing. They watch that stuff, and I was talking to the research and development guy about it, and he watches that stuff.
Yeah,
and
if you're curious about all the people using these things, just look up the Tippmann Owners group on Facebook. It's a wealth of knowledge in there.
Of knowledge. It's brilliant.
There's some ridiculous fixes. The dudes posting really good builds that they've done, which is a really cool thing.
With awesome rails. I give this a solid B. I mean, it's got some rough spots, but overall, it's mechanically sound. Like, it runs like a tank.
Yeah, I mean, when this thing came back from Shelby, we tore it down. It filled with grime. It was filthy. Didn't affect it.
It ran. The thing runs. I give it a B. I love it. As we cycle it more through the shop, more people are going to get their hands on it. More people are going to, run it through its paces, and they're going to tear it apart. As you can see, we've rolled in some gameplay footage while we've been talking. We've showed you some up-close shots of all the things that we've done to it. It does have some quirks, but a solid B all the way around. I have used this thing pretty much exclusively since we've got it in. My Polar Star has just been sitting on the rack back there, hanging out. And I'm being honest with you, I actually really, really, really do enjoy this thing. It's not perfect. It needs some love. They're going to put it back in the oven, and they're going to cook it a little longer.
For out of the gate,
their very first product like this.
Yeah, I'm impressed for a paintball company moving to their first airsoft.
Airsoft gun.
So I'm impressed. It's completely different system. It mimics a lot of real steel things. And they've just done some things that airsofters are so used to differently. But, like the hop up, I think that's really one of the biggest quirks with it. But there's so many fixes for it.
Yeah,
they'll come up with something.
Talking to the Tippmann guys, they are wholeheartedly open to critiques of their system and fixing it. And they are all about getting the best product out that they can get out. They don't want to just shove something out the door and then leave the customers to deal with it. And they're very receptive to fixes, and they're very receptive to helping customers out that have issues. I've talked to the tech department and the research and development guys time and time again, and they are super, super nice and super great about taking care of you.
They are in the process of coming out with different length barrels already, because it comes with a standard
14.5-inch barrel. So it's a carbine.
Some dudes want to make shorter, some want to make longer. So they're coming out with a 10-inch, so you can do
a Mark 18 style, for example.
Or a 20-inch, so you can do a full-length M16 if you would want to.
Exactly. Which is super cool.
And they're also, I'm sure they're going to be having, I would expect, a Gen 2 at some point by the end of the year.
Probably as soon as they get done with the hop-up fixes and stuff, I guarantee you that'll be Gen 2. They'll probably address the trigger issues. And it's very rare that people have, well, I wouldn't even say very rare, but it's not common that people have the full auto trigger issues that we've been having. So but I feel that they'll have all that sorted out because they've talked to me enough about enough of the fixes that exist to fix it that I believe it'll be fine. I think it'll be done.
Definitely.
But yeah, solid B. I like this 7 to 8 out of 10. Like, super awesome. I enjoy the shit out of this thing. The only thing that hesitates me from wanting to like buy one right out the gate is I feel that the full auto issue is something that just needs to get worked on. The hop up, this is like a 2-cent fix to the problem. That's done.
Yeah, those spare parts laying around.
Spare parts laying around, and this gun shoots like a dream now. With a $30 Sistema Type bore barrel in it, and a G&G green bucking, and then this little 2-cent spring and a piece of rail panel cover just to plug the hole. This thing shoots immaculate now. And I just wish it would do that from the box, but, you know, it is what it is. Since we pride ourselves on being a customer-focused business, we want you guys to know ahead of time, before you spend your money, what you're getting into. And we have, mechanically, this thing is a tank.
We broke a serious function piece of the upper receiver of this. Zip tied it together. It works fine.
Works. It shoots just as great, actually.
That's works until we get a new upper for it. So
yeah, it works just as good as it did without it being broken. That's what's funny about it.
So I mean, it's definitely going to be an interesting one to just see a very long term. So that's what our video 3 is going to focus on. Is
video 3 is going to be probably another month or so down the line.
I'd give it a little more because I really want us to, you know, once the spring season gets going, I really want to beat this thing up, and then we'll have something come out for you guys then.
All right, guys. So this has been our review number 2 of the Tippmann M4. Overall, we like it. We're going to keep beating the hell out of it and flogging on it to see what else we can destroy on it. Solid, though. We give it a solid B. Has a little bit of rough spots. They're coming out with another one. It'll get better. So this has been Anthony. I got Matt over here. Stay tuned for review number 3 when it comes out. Thanks for watching, guys. Check you later.
Cool.